Hello, Miss Roger. I received your question here. I guess let's see. It says 16 to 18. You're wondering how to do these three. Maybe I'll start with 17 and 18. You have a radical involved, and you want the radicand must be greater than or equal to 0. And so this part here, has to be greater than or equal to 0. If you substitute in a negative number for the radicand, it's not a real number, and we want to avoid that situation. So you take the radicand and you say, hey, I want that to be greater than or equal to 0, and you solve an inequality. So you'd subtract 4 from each side, and that would give me negative x is greater than or equal to negative 4. Now you need to divide or multiply each side by negative 1, but when you multiply or divide by a negative, you switch the direction of inequality. And so x would have to be less than or equal to positive 4. And so you don't want to put in here numbers 4 or smaller. If you put in a number like 5 in here, if you tried to find, say, g of 5, it would be square root of 4 minus 5, which would be square root of negative 1. And we're trying to avoid square roots and negatives. And so 4 is the biggest number we can put in there. And they probably want the answer maybe in interval notation, and so that would be the half open interval negative infinity up to 4, and we are including it. That would be the answer in the interval notation. This would be very similar, except it would be a 5 there. Now this guy here is a little bit, just ever so slightly different than these two. We've got a radical and a quotient. And so on this guy, we want to avoid the radicand being negative again, but we want to avoid the quotient being 0. So let's see, can I move this down? Yes. And so on this guy, what you want to do is take the radicand, instead of being greater than or equal to 0, we just want the radicand to be greater than 0. We don't want it to be equal to 0 because it's the denominator. This one's much easier than that last one. So we want x to be greater than 5, and so that would be half closed interval 5 to infinity. Hope this helps.